Hello and welcome to Get Better Results and Have Fun Doing It. I'm McKenna Sage, I'm your host here in the Mastery of Coaching Facebook group, or perhaps you're watching this at a later date on our YouTube page or Instagram. Either way, welcome. So excited to have you here. And if you are watching live with me today, I would love it if you could just type in the chat, let me know you can see and hear me, that everything's working on your side. And I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. So, where in the world are you? We tend to get a very international audience on these calls. So, let me know where you're tuning in from, and we will dive right in here shortly. And then, for those of you who don't know, this topic is really our second part of a three-part series on the World Changer Quiz, which is our free quiz that we have on our website, or you can go to worldchangerquiz.com and take that quiz. So if you're watching this live and you have taken the quiz, I would love to know what is your World Changer profile, if you remember. You can check your email if you're not sure. Okay, we've got someone in Toronto. Great. So you can see and hear me okay. Let me know if you've taken the World Changer quiz yet. And if you have, what was your World Changer profile? And if you have not taken the quiz yet, if you're watching live, I recommend waiting, and you can take it after this live call. You can just kind of learn about it today and then take it later. If you are watching the replay, maybe you want to pause this and go take the quiz and then come on back to watch the rest of the video. So we have Toronto and Quebec City. Great. So we've got some Canadians with us this morning. I love it. I was just in Canada for about 2.5 weeks. My husband's family is in Toronto area, and we were up at their cottage in Muskoka for a couple of weeks. So it was so beautiful. I love summers up there. Okay, so Sanjukta, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, has not taken the quiz yet. So you'll take it after we're done today, which will be great. And then Eve, have you taken the quiz yet? And if so, what was your profile? Okay, connector and motivated by victory. Beautiful. Awesome. If anybody else joins us, be sure to let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from, and then have you taken the quiz yet? If so, what is your profile? And even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and engage in the chat. I always really recommend it because it makes it kind of more fun and interactive, and sometimes I'll go back and see, people that have been commenting and so on. So I still recommend you get in there in the chat. Okay, so today is really about how do you get better results, which we're going to talk about that mostly in the realm of business, right? Most of you are entrepreneurs or coaches. In fact, I'd love to hear from you. What do you do? So Sanjukta, Eve, anyone else who's watching, are you a coach? Are you thinking about becoming a coach? Are you some other kind of, consultant or entrepreneur or something else? Let me know in the chat so I have a sense of who is watching today. And so most of you here in this group, if you're watching in our Facebook group, are going to be coaches, consultants, or wanting to become a coach or consultant. But we do get a lot of entrepreneurs as well in other industries who just want to grow their businesses, get better results, and learn communication skills. And we believe coaching skills are the way of the future. So it's not just for coaches, that you can really use them in your personal life, right? To have better communication with your loved ones. You can use it in your company if you work in an organization to have more effective teamwork. My husband works in a company, in a corporation, and he's brought so many of these tools to his company, and as a leader, and empowered his team with them. And he's like, yeah, I get so much recognition for having this set of skills, and like it's really facilitated more closer connection in our team. We get better results. So there's so many ways you can use coaching skills today. So just know that even if you're not a coach, you'll still get a lot out of this training. Tara says, yes, I am a life coach. Sanjukta is a life coach as well. Perfect. So either way, whatever business you're in, or even if you're in, corporate, wouldn't it be great? How would it feel if you could be more inspired in your work every day? So instead of feeling like, ugh, another day, another Monday. We had a client the other day who's in our mastermind program, which is our year program, called Wealthy World Changers. And she's worked with us for several years now. And she was like, when I started working with you, I remember I hated Mondays. I really dreaded Mondays, going to work and the whole thing. And I believe she even owned her own business, but she was just exhausted. And fast forward to today, she's like, I have my dream life, like truly, like in so many different areas. And I love every day of the week. I look forward to getting to do the work that I do. And, just feel so aligned and so on purpose. Wouldn't that be nice if we could all feel that way? If so, if you're in for that, yeah, Tara says I would love it to be that way. Say in the chat if you're in for feeling excited, inspired, looking forward to your Mondays, looking forward to every day. That's really what we're talking about today. How can you have more fulfillment, more fun, and get more of what you want in all areas of life, but especially in your business? Someone said, Eve, is it Eve or is it just Eve? I don't know how you pronounce your name. Said it would make a huge difference from a negative work environment to a positive one. Yeah, we've got several ins here. Awesome, ladies. So we're going to talk today about how you can use your World Changer profile, and in particular, your success motivator from the World Changer quiz. So last week we did a training, if you missed it, on how to get into your sweet spot, like your zone of genius. It might have been called How to Get Into Your Zone of Genius. I can't remember. One or the other. Let's see. It was How to Get Into Your Zone of Genius. Yeah, so what I like to call your sweet spot. And that was really about how do you take your top talent, because the quiz gives you two results. It's going to tell you your success motivator, and it's going to tell you your number one talent. Okay, this is our framework, our methodology from the Aliveness Method, which my mentor has been developing over the past 36 plus years, and testing and using with people all over the world, tons of countries and tens of thousands of people. And so the Aliveness Method is what our work is based in. And so this framework, the World Changer quiz, came out of that method. And so it tells you, again, your number one talent and your success motivator. And it's one of the frameworks that we actually certify our coaches in when they go through our program, is how to use this quiz with their clients in their coaching. So it's really an incredible framework, and it's changed my life, and I'll talk more about that. So last week was really a lot more focused on the number one talent. This week is a little bit more focused on the success motivator. But I will say that both are important in having more fun and getting better results and feeling more fulfilled. So really they work together. So I'm going to talk about the quiz a little bit. I'm going to talk about how you can use your success motivator. So in the quiz, your number one talent is what we say, it's your natural gift that brings you the most alive. You guys can write this down if you want, if you're taking notes. Your natural gift that brings you the most alive. That is your number one talent. You may have other skills. You may be really good at some things that aren't in your number one talent, but those are more of a developed skill set versus what really brings you alive. So I am a connector, as is, who said they were a connector here? Eve or Eve said she was a connector as well. The other talents are arranger and visionary. Okay, so my mom is a visionary, my mentor. She's a visionary. I'm a connector. And then arranger would be the third talent. Now, next week in our call, or our live training, we'll be talking about creating your winning team. And your winning team is a team that is the triad. It's all three of those top talents. And that is when things really start to click a lot of the times in business. And that doesn't have to mean those are like partners in your business. There's other ways that you can create a team. So then the other thing the quiz tells you is your success motivator. And we define this as what gets you inspired and keeps you inspired to get results in your career or business. Good morning, Catherine. Welcome. If you're just joining us, let me know where you're tuning in from. And also, what do you do? Are you a coach? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you starting, a coaching or entrepreneurship, a venture of some kind? So tell me a little bit about that in the chat. All right, so with this information, when you find out your World Changer profile, you can start to make shifts in your life to get more into your sweet spot, which is what we talked about in last week's live, to get the right kind of support and create your winning team, which is the topic of next week, and then to get better results in your career or business, which is really the topic of this week. Now, a couple of important distinctions about the quiz when you go and take it, if you haven't already, is that you are 100% unique. The quiz is not designed to pigeonhole people. It's an exploratory tool. So I want you guys to use this as a jumping off point, not as like, oh, that means I am this way, or that means you are this way. We don't want to, especially if you're using it with clients and things like that, you don't want to go like, well, you're a connector, so that means you're this way, right? That's not it. There's billions of people on the planet. How could we, in just 3 top talents and 3 motivators, how could we put all of you into those categories and you be the same? It's just not possible. So instead, use this as an exploratory tool, as a jumping off point to go like, what do I relate to about this? Or what can I really take away from this? For me, the more I realized, oh, I'm good at the skills of an arranger, but it's not actually my top talent that brings me the most alive. That's really connector. When I really got that, I started to make huge shifts in my life and in my business. And that led to me becoming a lot more successful, making a lot more money, making a bigger difference, and being a lot more fulfilled. Okay, everybody get that so far? If you're following me, say following in the chat. And then Catherine, be sure to let me know what you do, and also, have you taken our quiz yet? If you haven't, you can take it after we're done here today. It's 𝘮𝘩𝘢𝘵𝑗𝑟quiz.com, and in fact, I'll just put that in the chat, but I recommend wait. If you're on here live with me, wait and take it after, so you don't have to like leave and come back and be distracted. Okay, so the motivators, the success motivators, these are interesting, and I often don't even describe these until somebody's taken the quiz, because I don't want them to answer the questions in such a way that they'll get a certain motivator. So really important, you guys have to promise me, if you haven't taken the quiz yet, even though I'm going to tell you about the motivators, you have to answer honestly, okay? Don't change your answers because you want to get a certain answer. Can I get a promise in the chat? If you promise to answer the questions honestly, okay? To really, there's nobody looking over your shoulder. You want to be as true to what's true for you as possible, not what you wish you were or how you wish you would be, but what really feels true for you, okay? So, okay, I got one promise, awesome. Anybody else, if you haven't taken the quiz yet, can I get a promise in the chat? I want to make sure that you guys will answer honestly. Okay, Catherine is a coach for female entrepreneurs to build their businesses, to make more money with less effort and less time. Awesome. So you were a visionary. See if you can figure out what your motivator was, Catherine. Look in your email maybe, because visionary would be your talent. Let's find out what your motivator was. Okay, awesome. We've got some promises in the chat. So the motivators, they are wealth, shine, and victory. Write those down. Wealth, shine, and victory. So with almost all of the motivators, but especially with wealth and shine, we tend to get what I call like shame around the motivator a little bit with most people, all right? So people hear that their motivator is wealth and they're like, I don't know about that. Maybe I should go retake the quiz. We have people say this all the time. I'm just going to go retake the quiz. And I'm like, yeah, but you're probably going to change your results. And usually if you answered true to yourself the first time, those are your results, right? And people go, well, I related to a lot of the answers. And I say, yes, and you've got to choose the one in that moment that feels the most true for you. So don't second guess. It's like first choice, best choice, right? Whatever feels most aligned, go with that answer and don't go second guess yourself. So wealth shame. Let's talk a little bit about that. Wealth motivator means you are motivated, you're driven to make great money, to create wealth, to earn well with what you do. Now, this does not mean that you are selfish. It does not mean that you are self-centered. Well, self-centered is more in the shine, but it doesn't mean you're selfish. It doesn't mean you want money just for money's sake. It doesn't mean you're greedy. It doesn't mean any of these things. In fact, when you can open up to that, creating wealth is one of the most incredible things you can do in order to make a positive difference in the world, right? The more you have, this is one of my favorite mantras, we have it in our extended report, the more I have, the more I have to give. Write that down, especially if you are a wealth motivated person. The more I have, the more I have to give. This is my full and wholehearted belief, is that when I earn more, when I create more, when I generate more wealth, we live in an abundant world, and I can then use that for good. I can use that to take care of myself, to take care of my family and my loved ones and support them, to, pour back into my business so that I can make a bigger impact on the world with my clients, to, give back to causes and charities and things that I believe in. So I will use my wealth for good. And I know that, and thus the shame around the wealth is, I've done a lot of money mindset work to work that out of myself. So I just want to touch on that, because if you desire to make money, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay. So we have some exercises in our extended report which you can get, which goes through like if you have shame around money or if you have shame around shine or whatever it is, what can you do about that? But I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Shine is also one that tends to bring up some shame for people because shine is basically like you desire to not necessarily be in the spotlight, although sometimes there is an element of that, but it's more like to have an influence in an arena. So sometimes this takes I don't know the phrase I'm looking for there, but sometimes it takes the form of, there we go, of, being visible in some way, like being on video or having a podcast or maybe writing books, and I'll give an example. My sister is shine motivated. I'm wealth motivated. She's shine motivated, one of my sisters. And she is a parenting coach, an incredible one, but she's quite introverted and, not someone that you would think, like you would think way more that I would be shine motivated because I love to be on camera and I love to be kind of forward facing, but it's not my primary motivator. It's something I really enjoy, but I'm much more motivated by the earning. My sister, on the other hand, you would never think shine for her. You'd be like, really? Like, and she would even be like, I don't know. But as she really learned about the different, motivators, she was like, oh, I am shine, because she really is driven to have an influence and have her voice be heard in this arena of parenting and raising happy, healthy kids. And that's what drives her, is to be like known and have an influence in this area. So that's kind of what shine is about. And sometimes that's more an extroverted way, and sometimes that's more of an introverted way. So that's shine. But what comes up with shine is people think it's self-centered. On wealth, it's people think it's selfish. On shine, people think it's self-centered. And so they're like, oh, no, that's not me, right? And so I just want you to do a little check-in. If that is your motivator, if that turns out to be your motivator, is to really get that, like, again, by having that influence, even by being seen, by being a role model in some way, that you can make a bigger difference in the world, that you can accomplish more of your dreams and goals. And that is a really good thing. Yeah. So we want you to embrace whatever your success motivator is. Yeah. And then finally, victory. Victory people are motivated to win at whatever game they set their mind to. Whatever game they set their mind to. What do I mean by game? This can take different forms. If you think about a more traditional game, then someone like Michael Jordan, if you guys have ever watched The Last Dance, it's an incredible docuseries about Michael Jordan and was it the Giants, I think, or I forget the name of his basketball team. But I'm not really into sports, if you hadn't noticed. But anyway, you watch and you see his motivator is victory, man. He is all about winning, whatever it takes to win. And so that's a more traditional victory motivator. But what we see a lot of the time is, victory could also be like winning the game of business. So it's interesting. It could still be around like making money or winning at the game of business, but it's really about the winning. Yeah. And then there are people who victory really shows up as a cause for them. And that's a lot of people that are drawn to our work because they are motivated to make a positive difference in the world. Like my mom, for example, is victory motivated, and she is all about making a difference in the world. She has been a coach and a trainer for 36 years, you guys. Like, that is a long time to be in one career path, especially when there were no coaches really back then. So she helped forge the path of this industry, and to stick with it in all those years, through ups and downs, through times when she made a lot of money and times when she didn't make that much money, and all the different phases of life. That was because her underlying driver is making something right in the world, right? It is making a difference in people's lives. Now, again, there's subtleties to this because I am hugely driven by that as well, but it's not my primary motivator. If I go out to just make a difference in the world and I ignore making money, I'm not fulfilled in the way that I want to be. And of course, she wants to make money too, but it's interesting. I often describe it this way. It's like, imagine there's 3 targets, okay? 3 like archery targets way out in front of you. And if you're trying to aim for like the wrong target, then you're not going to get all of what you want. You're not going to feel fully motivated and fully fulfilled. And if you're trying to aim at all 3 targets, then that's really not going to work, right? So instead, you want to find the target that is your primary motivator. And that's what the quiz helps you determine, because then that is the thing that pulls you forward, and you can get everything else you want through that. So when I go for creating wealth in a way that is an alignment for me and is making a difference in the world, my impact is greater. I get to shine in the ways that are important to me, and so on. When my mom goes for victory from making that difference, then the money piece comes. Yeah. When my sister goes for having that influence and having that shine, then the money and the impact can come. But for you, it's really important to narrow down to what is your motivator, because that is the one you want to focus on. Because if I'm coaching someone and I talk to a, shine motivated person and they're just going for the money, that they're often kind of uninspired. They're like, oh yeah, I'm doing it, I'm getting clients, and I'm like, okay, but where are you shining? Yeah, where are you having that influence? Where are you really showing up in this way? So Catherine said, can your motivator change depending on the circumstances? No. So this is where people get like, oh, they're like, maybe my motivator is not my motivator. Maybe I want to go for a different one, right? But we always say, just relax into, what if you just tried that on for a while, right? That is your motivator. Now, again, it doesn't mean you don't want the other things. You can absolutely want, so that may be what you're referring to, Catherine, is like, you may desire a lot of money. You may desire to, have an influence in some arena. But if victory is your motivator, which I believe is what you said, then it's really for you to get down to what is the cause. I think it's a cause probably for you, given your work. So what is the thing you want to make right in the world? And use that as your driving force. And as you go for doing that, then of course you go for money and impact and all the other things like we talked about, but that is like the guiding light. Does that make sense? And same thing for you, Elise, or Delise, now I'm calling you Delise, Eve, is victory. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And for me, it's like, I need to pay attention to the numbers. If I don't feel as motivated. It's like, I'm hugely like, I love the impact we make with our clients. It lights me up so much. And I'm so like filled up by it, but it's not the main, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, again, it's not the target I focus on. It's the way that I reach the target. Yeah. So generally people want all three in different ways, but it's like, what is the one that you use as your guiding light, as your North Star? So that's what we're talking about today. So when you know this, you can use your motivator to sort of hack your productivity and stay consistently excited about getting results. If I pay no attention to the money and I don't, and I'm just focused on making a difference, then again, like my energy just isn't there in the same way. If I go, oh, I'm going to create a numbers game, this is something you can do if money is your motivator. Really victory too, because victory, you like the game, right? So if I'm going to create a numbers game where it's like, oh, I'm going to make, this much money this month through my life-changing work, then that's like exciting for me. And I get the benefit of also getting to change lives in the process. If you are shine motivated, again, you want to really go like, how am I going to be seen this month or this year? Like, do I want to start a podcast? Do I want to get on video? Even if it scares you, by the way, because just because that's your motivator doesn't mean you're not going to have some fear there. So when you embrace your motivator, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll feel great and inspired all the time, right? People are like, oh, well, it's my success motivator, so must mean, right? And same thing with your talent. It's like when you really get into your talent and your motivator, it doesn't mean you're going to feel great and inspired all the time. Hopefully that percentage is going to increase big time. Like you're going to feel so much more like your true self, so much more lit up and alive. I feel completely different than I did a few years ago when I was in my marketing career, burning out, not in alignment, not making the impact I knew I was here to make, not making the money I wanted to be making, even though I was making great money. But there was just so many things out of alignment. And the more I learned my profile and I really aligned my life and business, which takes time, by the way, to that, the more happy, fulfilled, the more I look forward to Mondays, the more you guys get what I'm saying, right? So it doesn't mean that I feel that way all the time. I have my down days, I have my challenges. And so in that, it will actually create what we call like a healthy friction in you sometimes, because you might, let's say wealth is your motivator and you're like, well, I don't have that at all, right? Like I'm not making good money at all. Well, good, right? Because then start going for that. Like make that a priority for yourself. And it's going to create this kind of friction in you where you don't have that thing, or you're not making the difference you want to be making yet, or you're not shining in the way you want to be shining yet. And that feels a little like not great, but it also can be a healthy motivator. You guys get that? So it creates this healthy friction in you. If you're following me on that one, say friction in the chat. So getting better results and having fun doing it. We've talked a lot about the motivators, and again, you're going to take the quiz if you haven't already. You'll get your video that describes your talent and motivator, and then if you'd like, there's the option to get the extended report bundle, which, by the way, if you don't have that and you don't remember it, or you want to go check that out, let's see, it's 𝘮𝘠𝘦𝘦𝘭.com, I believe. So 𝘮𝘮𝘦𝘭.com, you can get the extended report bundle, and that is like a whole PDF, about your unique profile. So your talent and motivator, how you can use it in your career and business to get better results, how you show up at your best, how you show up when you're not at your best. So you can kind of like print that out and put it on your wall or read through it and really start to use that to get more into alignment in your life and career. And then we also have a couple of really powerful audios in there about how to create your winning team, which we'll go over some in the live next week, but we go much deeper in those audios with myself and my mentor, Gigi Sage. And then another one about how to get the most out of your profile. So it's a really amazing bundle. I highly recommend it. And really understanding both your talent and your motivator are really important to get better results and have fun doing it. So again, for me, embracing my gifts as a connector and my desire to create wealth has allowed me to make a bigger difference, be more successful, and become so much more happier and fulfilled. Just to give like a snapshot of that, some of you know my story, but 5 years ago, if we go back, I was in my previous career making 6 figures plus. I had a lot of flexibility, a lot of things were working in my life, but I was burning out, and I was deep down, I wasn't fulfilled. I was having anxiety and panic attacks in my case, which is, maybe on the more extreme end of the spectrum. Some people we talk to aren't there, but they're feeling some of those same symptoms of tiredness, not feeling inspired, not feeling fulfilled, feeling like there's something more they're meant to be doing. And so I went from that in just a couple of years, really. Now it's been several years, but within a couple of years, I had turned my whole life around. And a huge part of that was really learning about this framework, the World Changer quiz, and then really stepping into the aliveness method in general, which is what we certify our coaches in our Aliveness Mastery 9-month coaching certification, is this framework, because it's not only you learning to do it with other people, it's you applying it to your own life first so that you come alive in the process. So at the time of this recording, we're in summer 2022. Our next group in that program won't be starting till early 2023, but you can definitely get on a wait list if you're curious. Just type mastery in the chat if you're curious about that program. It's super transformational for you. And then also you learn to use these skills. You're getting certified in this really powerful framework, not just the quiz, by the way, and like a whole set of frameworks, coaching frameworks that have been developed over the last 36 years. And then we pair it with a complete business coaching program. So it's really a full-fledged, incredible, 9-month experience. So if you're curious about that, or you want to get on the wait list, just type mastery in the chat. Okay, great, Cheryl. We'll make sure that you get on the wait list for that. Awesome. And other than that, I think we are just about good for today. So like I said, next week we will go deeper. Well, first of all, tell me one takeaway in the chat from today. Like what was an aha or something that really stuck out to you that you're going to take and apply in your life? And just share that quickly in the chat. And then next week we will be going into how to create your winning team. So this is a really powerful topic, as I mentioned, on how do you get people in your life and in your career or business that kind of fill the other functions so that you can be in your zone of genius more and more. And this is a huge part of energy and aliveness and fulfillment, is like, I get to be more and more. We have an incredible team now, and I get to be in my zone of genius a huge amount of the time. And boy, is it a difference, right? So we're going to be talking about how do you actually do that, whether or not you're in a place to hire a team. Maybe there's even people in your life that can play those other roles. So I'd love to see you here next week, same time. If you are in our Facebook group, Mastery of Coaching. If you're not, you can join at masteryofcoaching.com. So 11 a.m. Central Time, US Central Time, next Monday, the 29th. All right, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. If you have any questions, put them in the chat and we'll get back to you. And I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.